give you just a little bit of context, if I can, for what we're doing tonight. You know, you think about this building and what's happening around us. Just Tim and I were talking about this a few minutes ago. Tim Guthrie and I were talking about this. Think about the development that's going to happen around this building over the next couple of years and how much it's going to transform this part of the city. It's part of Portland's brand that we use land wisely, that we use transportation wisely, that we reinvest in old buildings and bring them back. Tom Kelly is here, the chair of the Portland Development Commissioner and Portland's ACE remodeler. Let's hear it for PDC and all that they do. Thank you, Tom. You know, you just think about how we have been an exception as a city. Anybody old enough to remember when Bruce Springsteen released My Hometown? I am. 30 years ago, Bruce Springsteen released My Hometown, and the lyrics said, "These jobs are going, boys, and they're not coming back." Well, actually they are coming back, because employment growth and real estate growth and population growth is coming to city centers. And Portland is a leader in that. We have been pioneers in showing that the urban equation is a positive sum, and that the combination of transportation, land use, growth management, sustainability, energy conservation, and innovation makes for a great place. Now, there's a lot of good news about that equation, and I'm very happy about it, but there's a threat or an unresolved problem, and that is how many people are getting to share in this prosperity? Are we making sure that we're bringing everybody along? There was a great Washington Post story that was just published a couple of weeks ago, and the reporter was particularly charmed by the fact that we took the old parking lot out behind City Hall years ago and converted it into public space and a garden. And so the title of the article, some of you may have seen it, was "Why Portland is Growing Its Own Swiss Chard and Stealing Your College Graduates." That's kind of fun, you know, that makes us feel good. But what about growing our own college graduates? What about growing our own tech workers? What about growing our own code writers? And that's, I think, part of the challenge for us next. We've been a national exception on the urban equation. I think we now have the opportunity to be a national exception on the human equation in having sustainability and a sustainable economy provide benefits for more people. And that's what some of these award winners that we're going to talk about tonight are particularly effective at doing, and what I think we're going to see as another important trend in these awards. And we're also going to celebrate the fact that so much of this innovation is really local, just as it has been, and why we're an exception. We're not an exception because Congress said build light rail, not freeways. We said that. We're not a national exception because Congress said take care of your farmland, don't sprawl. We said that. We cleaned up our air. We cleaned up our river. We became the place that young creative professionals want to move because we wanted to live in a place of sustainability. I think we also want to live in a place where there's opportunity for all of our fellow citizens. And that, I think, will be the broadened definition of sustainability in the future, and in fact, for some of the honorees that we're going to recognize tonight. I've gotten pretty inspired about this issue, not only by our own success here in Portland, but because I have the privilege of being one of the representatives to the C40 group. The C40 cities are cities around the world. It started with 40, but they're now over 70, who have said, we're not going to wait for our national governments to take the lead on sustainability and on climate change. We're going to take the leadership in our own cities. Mayor Bloomberg in New York, as during his time as mayor, got this started, and a lot of the rest of us signed on. Portland is one of those cities, and believe me, we're not there because of our size. Most of the other cities involved are huge. Rio de Janeiro, Paris, London, New York. We're there because we've been innovators. But I've gone and been inspired. In fact, I went to the meeting in Johannesburg back in February, and I heard Mayor Parks Hales say this. Now remember, the challenges he faces as the mayor are amazing. They are still struggling to break free of the terrible inequality that apartheid locked that country into for so many decades. They have huge poverty. They have giant slums. And they're taking some of those slums and they're building modest homes with solar hot water, community gardens, and bus rapid transit outside. And he said to that gathering of his colleagues, we will become prosperous by being green. We won't get prosperous first and then figure out how to be green. I think he might have been thinking about China. We will be prosperous by being green. And I'm so inspired that a mayor that faces the challenges like that has that philosophy. And if those 63 cities, now 70, in the C40 group do what they say they're going to do as a community, like the things we're doing here, they'll avoid 1 billion tons of carbon going into the atmosphere every year. 1 billion tons. That's enough to make a difference. That's what local initiative, like the local initiative that we're celebrating here in this room tonight, can accomplish. So I'm a big believer in that principle that we can innovate locally and then make a difference nationally and globally. Portland's done that in transportation and land use. I think we're doing that now in sustainability, and a lot of the firms here in this room are proof of that. And I think we'll do it on the human level as we prove that sustainability also means inclusion and opportunity for those who might not have otherwise been on that light rail train with us. So thank you all for being leaders, for inspiring me, for inspiring the world, because believe it or not, little old Portland does that. You have my commitment to keep working with you to grow a sustainable city in both of those senses of the word. So now, let me get on to the honorees, because we have some wonderful ones here tonight. I get to make the first 3 awards in the social enterprise category. This is a recognition of groups using the power of business or organizing to maximize improvement in human well-being for employees, customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. The first one of these I have a very personal connection with because it's a Portland coffee company that sends money to the nonprofit that birthed it. It also has a location right in City Hall, and believe me, they are closely connected to me. I think I might be closely connected to their prosperity. This company sells its blend at an array of well-known grocery stores, farmers market, but of course that cafe right in Portland City Hall. The profits are returned to the Full Life Foundation, which is an organization that provides recreational, educational, and employment services to people with intellectual disabilities. Founded 4 years ago by a couple who invested $250,000 of their own money to get the organization going. Let's hear it for Happy Cup Coffee Company and its founder, Rachel Mooney.